Hello, BookTube. It's Poetry Tuesday, a much neglected feature on this channel, but I don't want to forget it completely, where we read a contemporary poem of some kind or other and mull over what we think of it. I've learned a lot from your comments on these kinds of poems, and it's broadened my appreciation for them quite a bit. When I get a new volume, a slim volume of poetry in the mail, my reaction now is interest. It's eagerness to get into it and see what it's like. And I have a lot of the readings that you have done over the months in mind when I do that. I think that's just wonderful. And ordinarily what I do here is go not to places like Poetry Journal or Poetry Review or anything like that where poets go, but rather to poetry that's out in the marketplace. In the New Yorker, for instance, many, many times, or in the various literary journals. Pick one of those poems by someone who actually had to sell it in a venue where it's the only poem, or one of two, and read those instead and see what they have to say. Because the idea behind those poems being in a political magazine or in a literary journal, the idea behind poetry showing up in those venues is actually very old. Same thing with the New Yorker, same thing with Harper's or the Atlantic. It used to be that it was just a given. 100 years ago, it was just a given that if you made any kind of literary or social journal, it would, of course, contain some poetry. That was, once upon a time, the assumption. Before the Beat generation intentionally made poetry incomprehensible and made poets into priests who were the only ones who could interpret it. Before that, when a poet had to write a poem about something, and it had to be recognizably about that something, so that the reader encountering that poem didn't have to spend any time wondering what it was about, instead could spend time savoring it, appreciating how it goes about what it does, what we do on this channel. Before the Beats changed that, it was just expected that you would have a poem or two or more in everything that you did. And the reason that poems still appear in places like that, even now in 2019, is specifically because of that holdover. It's just an atavism from an earlier literary day. We even kept it alive at Open Letters Monthly, the online literary journal. Nothing says 21st century more than an online-only publication, but we made a point of having poems in every issue. And so that's where I went this time. I found a poem in the TLS. I actually found it a few weeks ago, and I clipped it because I like it. I like it a lot, and I want to share it with you, and I'll write it down in the text portion so that you can read it yourself. It's by Stephen Romer. I don't know that name at all, but then again, I don't know many contemporary poets by name. And it's called 7th July, period, morning, period. And this is it. This is the poem. After the effort, the discouragement, the years, you emerge one morning onto a plateau which is nothing other than this garden, where a collared dove stands on the rim of an old stone basin and takes one sip. He is a hieroglyph of order, of felicity. Eternity is in love with him. You have wanted to create this, and you have, if briefly, as of dawn this morning. For once, there is nowhere you would rather be. And I love that. I love even how it reflects back on the specificity of the poem's title. I love the whole of it, because it captures perfectly one little moment of contentment, and then the moment is gone. And I love it when poetry can do that. I don't think anything else can. Even music, I don't think, can do that. Poetry can do that. I sometimes think that poetry is best at doing that, at capturing the evanescent in words perfectly, and then it's gone. But you still have the poem. So I want to know what you think of it, what you think, and whether or not any of you have ever heard of Stephen Romer. But that's our poem for today, 7th July morning, which reflects a lot of sentiments that I have had. I'm sure that you have had moments like that. And I like it when poetry does that, instead of intentionally canting incomprehensibles to me and calling me stupid when I don't know them. So I'm going to wrap this up for now. Poetry Tuesdays are always brief, so I'll wrap this up. I'll write the poetry text down below so you can read it yourself and let me know what you think. And we'll keep this up. We'll do poetry again next Tuesday, I promise. Thank you, BookTube.